What's up everyone? A big haul came in today. This is my most anticipated Marvel Legends wave of 2021. A quick shout out to my buddies Terry and Adrian for hooking me up with this wave. You can go say hi to them at their Instagram profiles linked in the description below. And also a shout out to my local collector store Robo for getting these stocks in hot and fresh. You can also check out my Instagram and TikTok accounts in the description below. And of course, to start off this wave in style, let's take a look at the Ben Reilly Spider-Man. This whole wave is on the really fabulous 90s Toy Biz Spider-Man retro card. Really love the colors and the artwork of the branding at the top as well as the backdrop. There's an artwork of Ben Reilly Spider-Man swinging into action. The figure is packaged in a plastic bubble. He's got two sets of spare hands this time, one set of wall crawling as well as a set of fists. The figure really looks so good packaged nicely on this card. I just cannot bear to open him. This would make an excellent display piece. And we move on to the back of the card. We get that same Spider-Man branding on top, as well as Ben Reilly over here again. Some line work over here to show you how to change out those hands. A description of the character, the rest of the characters in the wave, and finally some product information at the bottom. So everything looks great on the card and I really cannot bear to open him. But let's do it anyway to review the action figure. And to unbox the figure, I simply slice the plastic bubble off the card back. Both sets of hands are cast in a blue plastic and there's red paint for the fingers as well as black paint for the web linings. This is also the same on this set of splayed wall crawling hands. Both sets of hands are articulated inwards as well as outwards. Of course, these hands are easily popped on. These hands give you quite a bit of options with playing with the figure. But of course, what would have really made this figure super awesome would have been an included unmasked Ben Reilly head with blonde hair. In my opinion, that would have definitely taken this figure to the next level. In terms of sculpting, he is essentially a total reuse of that sculpt from the Spider-Man in the first retro wave. The new parts are of course his wrist gauntlets, and now he's actually got a set of wall-crawling hands. I don't mind this complete reuse so much, because the bulkier, more articulated body definitely suits a Ben Reilly Spider-Man. And of course that original head sculpt already looks so good. On closer observation of the head sculpts, you can also see that the web lining on both heads are done differently. Taking a closer look at the sculpt and paint of this figure, the black and white paint for those eyes are super sharp. Even the web lining is all really neatly applied. The lines all match up over the entire head. So that's great work from Hasbro. It's really pleasing to see all those lines just connecting with no slop. And really makes that whole head sculpt look so distinct. His torso, like his head, is also cast in a red plastic. Once again, all those black paint applications for that gigantic spider symbol spread across his entire torso, as well as all the web lines. Everything is neat, sharp, and really impressive. All that line work also extends to his shoulders. Over here, his shoulders are also cast in a red plastic, while the rest of the arm is cast in a blue plastic. The gauntlets are a separate piece cast in a metallic looking silver plastic. They are a separate piece, and once you pop the hands off, these also slide off. The gauntlets look a little dull to me. They could definitely use some black paint in between those lines on the gauntlet. And now I'm gonna fix that by filling in those lines with a Gundam marker. This is the GM01 model for black ink. Just quickly drawing in the lines, and it's starting to look better to me already. Those gauntlets already look better to my eye compared to the original unpainted one. Just remember to let that ink kind of sit for a couple of hours so that the plastic can absorb it. But you shouldn't have to worry too much about it coming off, because those lines are recessed and the ink should stay on within those lines. And as you go down to his hands, they are sculpted in the TWIP web shooting pose. Just like the other hands, also cast in blue with red paint and web lines on the fingers. Moving on to the back of the figure, we see the same clean, sharp black paint for that huge spider logo as well as the web lines. Once again, no skimping on that work from the back. I also now want to point out that the crotch piece is cast in a blue plastic, and then there's red paint as well as black paint for the top of that crotch piece. The red paint matches the red plastic pretty well. There's also really defined muscle sculpting all over the body. You can clearly see all those nice toned muscles. And moving on to his legs, they are cast in a blue plastic with red paint down the sides of his lower legs as well as black for those web lines. Once again, also really neat paintwork, looking sharp and really eye-catching. Now the only thing about those lower legs is that the pegs for the lower knee joint are a red plastic, and that red stands out on the inside of his legs against the rest of the blue plastic. Hasbro hasn't figured out how to do two-tone colored plastic pegs. And moving on to his feet, we also see the same really clean and neat paintwork for the red paint as well as the black web lines. Moving on to articulation, his head is on a double ball dumbbell joint. So that means you can spin his head all the way around. He's got a good bit of sideways tilt as well. He can look down that much as well as up pretty well. But you can see a little bit of breaking up of the sculpt over here. He's got butterfly joints at his shoulders so he can pull his arms forward pretty well. You can also pull those arms backwards quite a fair bit. He's got a swivel hinge at the shoulders so that goes 360 as well as coming out that far. He's got an upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that go beyond 90 degrees, swivel hinge at the wrist that go all the way around as well as articulating in as well as out. He's got a mid-torso ball joint so you can turn him sideways. He also gets good sideways tilt. And then he's got a hinge at the waist. Combining that hinge with that ball joint, you can get very good forward bend as well as backward bend. He's got drop-down ball joints at the hips, and that means he gets really good outwards range. Also pretty good forwards and backwards. Upper thigh swivel so you can swivel 360. Double jointed knees, very good range. Swivel at the calf for 360. He's got ankle tilt upwards as well as downwards. And finally very good ankle pivot outwards as well as inwards. He's a very well articulated figure, easily able to touch his toes. You can of course also get him into a pretty decent iconic 4-point crouch position. I really like how this looks. And of course, with such a well-built and articulated figure, once you start playing around with those hand options and throwing in your own web effects, you can have a lot of tremendous fun with this figure. This figure really feels like hand candy and handles so well. This is probably my favorite Spider-Man figure for this year. One thing that I noticed while playing with the action figure is that the paint on the underarms could get scratched off. The paint scratching happens when you articulate his arm, while his shoulder butterfly joints are pushed forward. So the arm would be rubbing against the front of his torso, which is a harder plastic. So just be careful when you're articulating his arms. Here's a quick side-by-side comparison with the previous Ben Reilly Spider-Man. I like the newly sculpted, more muscular body, and it also has a lot more articulation. He's also got a more vibrant blue to him, and that definitely makes the whole figure pop a lot more. In case you were wondering, those heads do swap, but I feel the old head sits a little low on the new body, and the new head sits a little high on the old body. The Peter Parker head from the Spider-Man and Mary Jane 2-pack does fit well on this body, so if you have the blonde Ben Reilly head from the retro Scarlet Spider action figure, you could possibly swap that over if you wanted. For size, Ben Reilly Spider-Man stands at about 6¼ inches, and that's about 16 centimeters. For size comparisons, here he is with a couple of Spider-Verse figures. Peter Parker and Mary Jane, Venom and Carnage, Green Goblin and Morbius, Iron Man and Black Widow. For comparisons with other lines, here he is with some G.I. Joe Classified series and some Star Wars Black series. This figure is a straight up mold reuse, but the quality and build of this sculpt still makes the figure shine. This time he does come with wall crawling hands, but could use an unmasked Ben Reilly alternate head to bring it to the next level. The paintwork is super clean, and the more vibrant blue really makes this figure pop. For me, this is my favorite Spider-Man action figure of 2021. I definitely recommend you to pick this up if you see him in store. Please like and share this video, let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe to my channel for more toy reviews. Thanks for watching, take care and stay safe.